Two marker. What's going on, Alamo City Movie Talk fans? As always, I'm your host, Ryan D, aka the Ryan680.
This is Lex back at it again with another review.
Let's get right to it. Lex, man. All right, guys. First and foremost, before we get into Ted Lasso here, ladies and gentlemen, sorry we've been on a little bit of hiccups here and there. We haven't really been keeping up with our reviews of Ted Lasso, but we have been watching it with you guys, moviegoers out there, TV show fans, Apple TV Plus fans of the show. Thank y'all so much, guys. And yeah, let's get right to it. So before we get into it, we're going to talk about Fan Expo, ladies and gentlemen. So Fan Expo, Dallas Fan Expo, we will be there. We cannot wait. If you are going to be in the Dallas Fan Expo experience, it happens June 9th to June 11th, 2023, ladies and gentlemen. Exciting. It's be our first time there at this Comic-Con here. We are excited. Moviegoers are excited. I mean, it looks fantastically done. And thank you so much, guys, Dallas Fan Expo, for giving us the opportunity to be there. And if you do see us, say hello, man. We appreciate it, man. Lex, are you excited to go to Dallas Fan Expo?
Yeah. It'll be my first time in Dallas in general. Never been there before.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, just a Comic-Con style event of this magnitude. I've only gone to local. Typically, in the places that I live, I go to the local cons. Recently went to an anime con here in San Antonio, which was already a pretty big event in my opinion, probably the biggest that I've personally visited. And I know this is going to be like twice its size. I almost went to New York Comic Con, but
yeah, I forgot about that.
I had other things on the agenda for the New York visit, but I'm super stoked, dude. A lot of great talent's going to be there. Just the fact that you're there in the same building and you're seeing artists from all over the world, like it's just going to be insane.
It's going to be huge, man. Hayden Christensen is going to be there. Rosario Dawson. I mean, we're going to go down the list yet, but thank you guys. Be sure to look out for us. Look out for our content as well. We will be at the Comic-Con. We will be there Friday and Saturday, guys. So be on the lookout for us. And yeah, remember, Dallas Fan Expo will be on June 9th to June 11th, 2023, guys. Can't wait to see you there. All right. And conclusion to that, now that is done, guys, let's get right to it. This is our review of episode 4 and 5. We're going to skip through 4 a little bit because it was a big week.
You guys probably seen it, right?
Oh,
You've probably seen it. I hope you guys have.
Real quick, so big week that happened here at Richmond, guys. A lot of major stuff. This runtime, so the runtime for this was actually 50 minutes. The same runtime, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be the same runtime for the next episode as well. Yeah, I'm loving these long episodes, dude.
Yeah.
Why can't they just do the hour? Give us the hour.
I'm okay. No, I'm not going to complain. I'll take whatever they give me because there's a lot of stuff that happens in those 50 minutes. But if you think about it, Ted Lasso has had us used to like 29-minute episodes.
30 minutes. Yeah.
30 minutes. They've gradually gone up because a lot of episodes on season 2 were 40-something. But I don't know, dude. I'm loving these 50-minute episodes still.
Yeah, me too, man. So this is the big one. This is the big tamale. This is the big biscuit. Richmond versus West Hampton here. This is crazy. This is the one we first get the opening scene where Nate is really struggling to figure out what is my other opponent going to think of? What is Ted going to think of? What is, it just has a whole layout exactly of what's happening here.
And you can see he's still planning. He's still, Nate the Great per se, like in terms of his ability and capabilities to analyze the game, and clearly he still has mixed feelings, right? Like you see him kind of flick the Ted Lasso shape. And I think that's a beautiful not the flicking, right? But just the fact that he has like a kind of like setup of the match and stuff like that. It's a beautiful parallel to how Ted Lasso has the stadium with Legos, right? You see that represents Ted in the sense of his personality, right? It's more playful. There's Legos. It's not something official. And then Nate has a more toned down, like figuring, static looking, figures, just strictly there to plan out the game. Beautiful parallels, excellent writing. But yes, you can continue writing. It was a great way to open and show those two sides, right?
Yeah, at least how Nate has really become not obsessed, but more committed to the game, more committed to himself, and just not be and to he's really stuck to where he's just trying to please everybody. He's focused on that. He's focused on social media. He's focused on I need to please everyone. No matter what and everything. And then to top it all off, the next scene we got, of course, was Ted Lasso, was just finding out that he's a mess, even though he really thought he really wasn't that much of a mess.
And
With
that was
Sassy.
delivered to him, yeah, by none other
Yeah,
than Sassy, who is always blunt. Like, she is
I like it
really
though. I
great.
like it.
No, I love
Yeah,
Sassy. She keeps it real. She's the
I like
only
it.
one that tells Rupert shit to his face.
Yeah.
She has no filter, which I love. It's funny that she's like a child psychologist, uh, but I'm not saying, like, I doubt that she can do that, but it's funny, like, the level of bluntness probably comes from that. Like, you have to be straight
Of
up with
course.
kids as well.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, Ted kinda takes that to heart, right? Like, it's
Yeah.
kinda like a theme throughout the whole episode. He starts
Yeah.
inquiring and asking people in his life, like, "Hey, do
Yeah.
you guys
Do you
think
think I'm
I'm
a
that
mess?
true?" And everyone's like,
I
"Yeah, yeah,
mean,
1,000%."
I don't blame him though. I really don't.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just one of those things to where you really are you stuck in that am I really stuck? And then you kind of focus, you kind of like start asking yourself those questions. Am I really a mess? And because he's unsure of himself. He really is. He's unsure
yeah,
what it is to be, I guess, complete without, being through a divorce and everything. It's definitely one of those situations to where, it's a struggle because we've seen him. I mean, last season, I mean, the panic attacks, it's just,
yeah,
it's hard going through what he's been going through, especially being overseas across
and
the world without
yeah,
his son. I mean, just trying to raise his son without being a present
yeah.
parent. It's definitely hard. I mean, I don't have kids, but I can just see it from this TV show, see
Oh,
it
yeah, just
from
being
his,
apart from your loved ones and
yeah, from
stuff.
his face, from his facial recognition, from his facial expressions. It's really hard, and
Yeah. And
yeah,
it's been hinted at, right? Like, I mean,
yeah,
we all, as the audience, we know that Ted has issues, and he's
yeah,
like, owned up and acknowledged some of them, especially last season, right, with
yeah,
Dr. Sharon, like, dealing with the tragic death of his father,
yeah.
and just how that has impacted him as a person and probably led to some of the panic attacks and stuff. But I think this is the first time that we hear someone say it to his face, like,
Mhm.
because I remember on the funeral scene in season 2, Sassy and Ted also walk out to just have, their classic, like, continuous one night stands. I guess
Yeah.
it's not one night, but yeah. And I remember Rebecca's mom actually makes an observation, is like, "Oh, Florence," which is Sassy's name, is like, "She always likes wounded birds." So
Oh, yeah,
so
yeah.
it people know and
Makes
observe,
sense.
and she's only met Ted a couple times, right? Like, her
Yeah.
mom, so Rebecca's mom. So, like, it's clear that people see that, and a lot of the times the people that are super positive and joyful and
Yeah.
upticky, like, they're people that are dealing with a lot of stuff behind the scenes,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, a lot of issues
Past that.
we don't know. That's the thing. Like, 'cause we like just because an actor or any one of us is so happy and cheerful, and yet, I mean, we could see it from celebrity standpoints. Robin Williams is one to where like he was always
Yeah,
making people laugh. Well, come to find out, obviously, Seth, rest in peace. It was definitely one of those things to where he was really, really hurting inside, and and same thing with the white Power Ranger. It's just it's we
yeah,
don't he's spreading so much love, and then he's just really, really been battling with the anxiety or battling with depression so much within himself, right? I mean, yeah, but and then we see also what do you call it? We see Ted Lasso show up in this elevator at West Hampton, and then long behold is Nate right there in the corner.
yeah.
Now, what do you think that symbolizes right there? What do you think? Because I kind of feel like this symbolizes something where Nate's in the corner and it's like in the elevator, and he's trying to avoid Ted,
Oh,
obviously.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know about symbolism. It was a funny thing that, like, he clearly was avoiding him. I think it just,
yeah,
rather than maybe something symbolic, I think it was just
yeah,
Nate doesn't like conflict. Clearly,
yeah,
like, Ted is still someone that I think deep down he r- looks up to, in the sense where,
mm,
you know he just knows that he hurt him, and even though Ted doesn't want to admit it, like, he doesn't know, like, Nate is still someone that faces difficulties with standing up, right? Like he's done
Yeah.
it recently, but he's done it in a way that it takes him to a really dark place, and he has to be degrading to another person in order for him to stand up. He can't
Yeah.
just be neutral. He can't just be nice and still stand up for himself. And
Yeah.
that's issues with his character and who he is as a person.
Yeah.
So clearly he doesn't want to go to that place, but because he doesn't know how to stand up for himself or stay firm without going there, he just
Mm.
decided to avoid it altogether. But for a moment, we saw a glimpse of him wanting to tell Ted sorry. Like, he was
Yeah.
about to talk about the way he left, and there, behold, the Emperor Rupert shows up.
Yeah, it's almost like Vader. He was pulling a Vader. He's even wearing the all black suit. I mean, Vader
Yeah, it's
symbolism
all
there.
there,
Like,
dude.
and
It's
then the
all there.
Emperor. Okay, there's this look that Rupert gives in this episode, and he's just like, it's so evil. It's just like so. It's hard to give the look, but he just gives the look where he looks across, and like, he's giving that look towards Nate. Right,
Yeah.
right. He just gives his mean, evil Emperor look, and I just love it. It just, I mean, I'm just telling you, man.
It,
There's a lot of
well, for
recognition
sure.
here.
I,
Yeah,
I I definitely see that. And also, like, throughout this episode, we saw something very interesting where you saw more of Rupert's like abusive, controlling, like little telltales. So I don't know if some people might have not caught this, but throughout the episode, Rupert goes through different moments with Nate where, when Nate first asked for his advice of like, what do I tell to Ted? Like, right, I don't know what to
yeah.
say.
In the
You
beginning.
know, Rupert is sensing that, Nate once again doesn't know how to stand up for himself, and Nate doesn't
Yeah,
know how to be evil by himself because
yeah.
he's still thinking of Ted as
A
another
friend.
person,
Yeah.
yeah, a friend. So Rupert tells him earlier in the episode to call him Rupert instead of Mr. Mannion. Like, no,
Mm,
you don't have to be so formal. But then after Nate asked that question, he said, "No, call me Mr. Mannion." So establishing a layer of I'm above you, I'm your
yeah,
superior, you address me as Mister. But
yeah.
then later, when I'm skipping a bit, but like
No, you're fine. Fine.
West Ham beats uh,
What? No, I was
Richmond,
kidding.
and it's done so
Spoiler.
because Richmond
Spoiler.
loses their mind, but Rupert's happy, and then they go to a bar and they're in a public setting. Rupert wants to look like the good guy, so Nate calls him Mr. Mannion again.
And he
And
says,
he's
"Don't call
like,
me
just call
Rupert."
me Rupert. And he's doing two things there.
And he gives him
A,
a
he's
girl.
happy, so he's giving him the reward of like, yeah, just call me Rupert. But he's also doing it because there's people there and it makes him look kind and
Exactly.
humble. So it's just
He
I
is so
spotted that and
good.
I'm like, this
Yeah.
motherfucker.
Yeah, and Rupert is so manipulative that he would either we give this little dialogue here between him and Becca, where Becca is explaining
Oh
to us
yeah.
yeah, dude, that is just no. I mean, he was married. I mean, he just. I think she said at the very
Yeah,
end of the
Rebecca
conversation.
explains, yeah,
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 at the
how
very
they
end.
met, right?
Yeah, and which we didn't know. So at the very end of this conversation, she literally says, which I thought was really good writing. She really says, he made me feel special. He made me feel like I was the only. I don't know if she said person or woman in the world. He made me feel like I was the best thing in the
Yeah,
world,
just the best,
and
yeah.
yeah, just the best
And
thing in
this
the
and this
world.
was, if I'm not
And
mistaken, this was the episode prior, like when they were trying to get Sava, if I'm not
yeah,
mistaken. But that carries over. We
yeah,
see just the root, the seeds that he plants and the
yeah,
setup. Like it's crazy,
it's all
and
coming together. It
it
really
makes
is.
me see
Yeah,
more and more like I've personally always felt this way, but people like to refer as Nate as the main villain, and it's like, have we forgotten that Rupert's right there? Like
yeah.
he's the main
He
villain.
is the main villain. He got
He's
Nate over there. Like it just, I
yeah,
mean,
but
yeah,
granted, once again, I still feel very strong feelings against Nate, and that'll carry
yeah.
over into our episode
Of course,
5 discussion. But
Nate needs to boom blow. I'm just kidding. No.
but I think
Yeah,
one of the big lessons here on this
yeah,
episode is Richmond lost their cool, and it's because
yeah,
Roy and Beard went ahead and decided to take the path of vengeance and try to motivate the players by showing them that Nate was the one who tore down
Believe,
the
yeah.
belief, which I didn't know that they didn't know. I thought like, oh yeah, they found out, they dealt with it.
Well,
But
Ted
here we
knew.
find,
You got to remember,
oh
Ted's the
yeah,
only
obviously
person that
Ted knew,
knew. Yeah. So
but I
Ted,
just didn't know
yeah,
he taped it up and they just like he put it there like if nothing.
yeah.
I just thought like since there was like 3 months that got skipped or something,
No, no,
I
no.
just
Yeah.
thought I just thought like, oh, they dealt with that. But it
Mhm.
was, I think it was very interesting to, how that came about to the team. Also kind of speaks on Ted. Like, he's looking after Nate. He didn't want them to hate him, but
Yeah.
we once again see how Richmond responded. They responded with
Yeah.
hate, and that's not what this team is about.
Yeah, I think they meant one of the guys was like, they're playing like the Italians. Like you just, I
Yeah.
thought that was, this is great. This is great. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely one of those things to where you didn't expect that out of the players, right? But I
Yeah.
mean, Beard,
I
I
did
mean,
not, dude. I was like,
All I'm
yeah.
saying, Ted told Beard surprised me, or so he said something like that, or just,
That
I
does
mean,
not give
yeah,
he's
yeah,
not that's not what he
yeah,
meant, dude.
that's all. Hey, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying because he had to talk to Becca, and that's all I'm saying. He literally said, "Surprise me," and I was like, okay. I mean, I guess it's a surprise, right? A little bit of surprise here. And then, furthermore, we saw Keely's boss was actually a girl, a woman.
Yeah.
Jack was this, we all assumed, just like us, we all assumed that she was actually a
Yeah, they
guy.
always say
Yeah,
Jack and yeah.
yeah, a guy. And knowing where they actually met was in the bathroom. I thought it was pretty funny. The way it was set up was very clever to the writers. I give it to them because it's not every day you meet someone in the restroom like that. I mean, we're guys, so we wouldn't know too much
Yeah.
about that whole concept about. But I mean, I guess periods do come randomly, all right? I mean, it's definitely one of those things to where it's very clever by the writers to really put that into perspective and to put the realism in it. I mean, I thought that was really good. And then Jack was actually a really good character that I thought was a very good setup to bring into this episode. I thought that was really good. That's how you bring in a character here. It's kind of like it just kind of went intuitive of its own. Like it was very smooth. It felt very natural versus forced. Oh, we're bringing this new character and it's going to be this new character is going to have some kind of what do you call it? Some kind of in depth into the whole story or something. But I mean, it just felt very smooth. I liked it a lot. I really did. I'm not gonna lie. I liked the way it was. I liked the way, I think her name, what was Keely's assistant or the financial
Barbara.
Barbara. She was all over Jack. She was just like,
Yeah.
it
Trying to
was.
please her, and then
Yeah, and
also
then
like
the fake
looking up
laughs
to
of Becca.
Rebecca. Yeah.
Yeah, she's all like it was just so fake. I was just like,
Yeah.
oh my god. I was just like, dude, this is horribly fake. Like it's just, yeah, you
Yeah.
can really tell. And then Zava in here, Zava kind of gives this little deep speech here as well, and in the very end of this episode, it just feels very crazy. Like it's definitely a thing to where you kind of got to get recognized here. And then also we saw Rupert. Becca saw Rupert with another guy. It's a little
Girl.
bit. Oh, girl. Sorry, the
With
girl.
his assistant.
Yeah, with his assistant. And so,
And also
damn.
Nate saw that too. He saw
Yeah,
that while being at that exclusive bar and stuff like that. So
yeah,
I think maybe that's like an opportunity for Nate to see who Rupert really is, and maybe
yeah,
that's not the type of person that he Nate needs someone to look up to. That's
yeah,
at least how he's been as a character for a long time. Um, so maybe he starts realizing that Rupert's not the right person to be following or
yeah.
associated with. But we'll see. I don't know. It wasn't too apparent, but he clearly seemed uncomfortable with that. And then once again, Rupert's introducing him to a friend or whatnot. But I
I
think
mean, he's
this leads
giving her a
us.
woman. He's giving her a
Yeah,
woman. That's all I'm saying. He's
I
giving her a woman.
I think this leads us really nicely into the following episode because a lot
Yeah,
of these characters and themes kind of like carry over to episode
yeah,
5, which I'm
yeah.
really excited about.
What was your rating of episode 4
Oh
before we jump right into
yes,
it?
um, episode 4. Um, I'm gonna give it a solid 9. I think
Yeah,
it took me by surprise that
mm,
this early on we were already going against West Ham, right? Like that
yeah,
that almost seems like a end of the season type of thing. But in soccer, you face the same opponent multiple times, so this makes perfect sense.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, there was a lot of build up to this. We were interested in how these characters were going to interact, seeing each other for the first time,
Hmm.
particularly Ted and Nate. But so much happened here, so much great stuff. Um, I think 9 is just a nice number for this episode. It was
Yeah.
super solid, building stuff up still, and
Yep.
I think just it's been consistently good in my opinion. Just the series so far.
Yeah, this we go, like I already said already with the writing, everything with the setup was so well put. It was a better setup than Super Mario Brothers. That's all I'm saying. It was just I was kidding. I was just kidding. I'm dragging it. But yeah, this episode was so good. I mean, it was definitely a 9 as well. I'm gonna have to get a solid 9 just because it was West Ham versus Richmond. Like
Yeah,
this I thought was I thought was gonna be we're gonna see a little bit more action wise,
yeah,
from the soccer more aggressive, but I feel like it's still coming. I feel like it's still coming. The competition's still coming. That close game is still coming. I feel like, but yeah, I mean, I enjoyed Nate. I enjoyed seeing Nate. I enjoy seeing Nate's development, really struggling with himself, trying to be bad. Like he's just like, maybe I shouldn't have left Nate. Maybe I shouldn't have left like the way I did. Maybe I should apologize to Ted. Maybe like just the inconsistent of just doubting. Did I make the right decision, or did I make the right choices leaving the way Richmond the way I did? And I like that because that's a struggle. That's growth. I mean, Nate looks a lot older than he does the last episode. Like he's going a lot of white hair, and I don't think that's a good thing. I think he's definitely got way more stress being the head coach
yeah. I
or
don't, I
the
don't know if I
manager.
had
The manager, yeah.
maybe. Yeah, I don't think I had noticed. I mean, obviously, I noticed it
Yeah,
last season because his hair was actually representative
but
of
this
his
one's way more
transformation.
white or
Yeah,
way more white than usual. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm going to give it a solid 9 as well. And then we jump right into episode 5, ladies and gentlemen. Uh, yes, episode 5 stars. It starts with the signs title here, and we start with Richmond really struggling with losses. This is insane. They were really struggling. Like, what the hell's going on?
yeah. And I'm sorry to interrupt, Ryan, but they skipped a month, right? I think it's said
Yes,
very
yeah.
early on in the episode. Once again, guys, this is spoilers.
Oh
I know we
yeah,
mentioned
sorry,
it at
sorry,
the yeah.
sorry,
No worries,
forgot.
I forgot to.
Yeah,
But because this is gonna be one episode, right? Like not cut into two.
no,
Okay, cool. So we told you at the beginning, but in case you fast forward or whatever, this is spoiler section of episode 5. Please watch the episode. But
yeah,
yeah, we're quickly told like it's been a month since episode 4, which I found interesting. I thought we were gonna pick up right where we left off.
yeah,
Um, but no, and in that moment of weakness that Richmond had
yeah,
led them in a path where just their confidence is off, their belief
yeah.
is off, and
Ever since they
what
showed
else
the
did you think
video,
of the
ever, ever,
opening? Yeah, ever since
yeah,
yeah, they just weren't playing with their mind right.
it's definitely weird because we thought Zava was gonna be the saving grace in this
Yeah,
whole. It started off like that a little bit, to where this Zava's like the LeBron James or
yeah,
F LeBron James, but the whole just a better player, all star all around, and he was going to bring balance. He was going to bring victories, and he did bring victories. But it's just they've been in a slump ever since Richmond. I feel like the anger and the fact that they're so mad and upset with Nate kind of blocks their morale, kind of
yeah.
blocks their motivation here, and it's more like they're stuck in a slump. It's like the sewers. It's like the episode 1 all over again. They're just surrounded by,
A
uh,
puppy.
yeah, puppe, yeah. It's all over the place, and they just can't
Yeah,
really. They can't really get around it because they're having trouble sitting on it. Be like they're just
yeah,
it's a struggle, man, and I get it because it holds down to where it's definitely sports driven. So it's just you have to work as a team. This is definitely team driven. So you can't just be like, it's not like basketball where you can one player knocks it out of the park and
yeah,
it's a whole team effort to get the ball to the other side of the field. And so, it's crazy to me that even though they have Zava, it's still
yeah,
lose losses. That's insane. But yeah,
yeah. And I think it's like, yeah, it was always the mindset. Like, yes, Sava was doing
yeah.
a lot of the stuff on that
Everything. He was
front.
doing everything.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was doing everything.
Yeah.
It's just the team believed in him, and so I just think, yeah, like it's just obviously representative of the mindset that the team as a whole may have, and even like they said, even Sava could not fix it, and
Yeah.
that clearly frustrates Sava. But you can see everyone is kind of. a month worth of that, right? Like draws, losses, etc. Like it
Yeah.
just does things to morale, and you see that from the front office. You
Mhm.
see it very quickly in the opening. Rebecca comes in, and Ted's like, "Oh, hi, what can we do for you?" It's
When in
like,
the
"What
F are
the
we gonna
fuck
start?
are you?
Yeah,
Yeah, when
dude, that was
are we ever
great.
gonna win
She's
again?"
she's like, it's just she's already just like, I'm over this. Like, you need to freaking win,
And
you
we've
know?
seen Rebecca earlier. I think the first episode of Citizens, she also
Yeah.
was frustrated, obviously. And
Oh
this
yeah.
time, it's not even just about like, oh, Rupert or whatever. It was just more like, dude, like, what the fuck,
Yeah.
And we can see Ted struggling to identify what the solution is, right?
Yeah. I know I'm skipping ahead here, but in this episode, but I really am stuck. Am I the only one upset that again, this is spoilers, right? That Ted isn't doing crap on the field. Like, I mean, we really don't see him doing too much different plays. It's like, I don't know,
Well, we
it's
know it's
weird.
not
It's
him.
no,
So
I know that, but it's definitely like, what are they doing with, like, they show us in the middle of the game and he's not doing crap. He's just sat there, sitting there, upset with his
well,
own personal life that's happening, and it's just like, it sucks
I
because
agree.
yeah, I'm all like,
So
dude, what the hell's going on?
yeah, well, I agree
Yeah,
in the sense of yes, I think he's not been able to focus himself with everything
yeah,
that's going on in his personal life. um but I do, like, to an extent, and they've talked about this in the show before. I don't know if this season, but prior
yeah,
seasons as well. It's not like American football, right? Like in American football, you have each individual play that stops at a certain point, and then you
yeah,
have time to come together,
huddle,
let
yeah,
your players what you want them to do on the play. But once on a soccer match, once it starts, the players are doing their own thing. So
yeah,
I know they created their, like, to kind of adopt
yeah.
the football mentality. They created like little calls for like different plays and stuff like that. Um, there's not much that he can do.
Hey,
I think
but
what Ted
Nate the Great, though, he was doing all this other stuff. I was like, what the heck is
Well,
going on
yeah,
there?
yeah,
Yeah,
but that's the thing. I think Ted is the type of leader that gets the right people around him to help him facilitate some of those duties. In this case, Roy is trying to come up with all the things
hmm,
in place of,
yeah,
Roy and Beard and stuff.
hmm,
So I don't know if that's, once again, it is part that Ted's focus is somewhere else. It's in his mind.
yeah,
Morale's low. He's not really like driving the boat. But at the same time, I think part of it has never been that he, like, hones in, and it's just he has a team around him that they
yeah,
all coexist and work together. But I think even if Ted was doing that, I don't think the team is in the right space for accepting all of that stuff.
yeah,
um but
yeah.
it is a thing throughout the episode where we're trying to crack that, right? Like, crack
Mhm.
what the issue is and what they
Yeah.
can do about it.
Yeah. And then jumping back to the beginning of this episode, we see Keely's friend make a drunk call to one of the investors.
Shandy. Yep.
Dude, Shandy, what the F, dude? What is wrong with her? Like,
Yeah,
they lost an investor, thousands, if not millions
because of
of
that. Yep.
dollars. Like, I'm sorry, kid. I just cut her. Like, that's it. You're just she's taking
Yeah,
advantage
and
of you.
Jack told
Like,
her. Jack
yeah.
gave Keely a sample of what it would sound
Yeah,
like to
and she
fire
and
her.
I thought they were fine, dude. Okay, who fell for that? I thought they were
I
firing
did it.
Keely. Yeah, I was all like, "What? No fire Keely?" And yeah, I was just like, "Wow!" And I thought they were gonna.
Yeah, it was
I
a
thought she was
nice.
gonna fire.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
Keely started freaking out. And she's like, "Oh my
yeah.
god!" But no, talking about Shandy, and I give Shandy the benefit of the doubt at first, and then last episode she had that
She got
moment where, like,
salty.
she altered the banter thing to say, like, "Oh yeah, fuck a celebrity," and that's,
Yeah,
like, totally not what banter's about. There's been episodes about what banter is trying to do, so for
yeah,
her to kind of switch up the formula there, be so unprofessional, and then to see that that continued, I was like, yeah, no, Shandy
yeah,
has to go. And honestly, I thought for a moment that it was gonna take a whole two episodes or something for Keely to step in and do that.
yeah,
But no, I'm super proud of Keely.
yeah,
Our girl, like, everyone's sweetheart. Like, just she stepped in, she did boss lady shit,
yeah,
and she stood up to even someone that's her friend. And she
yeah.
was still sympathetic because Shandy
It was
hugged her for a
tough.
little bit, but then Shandy, like, did some shitty shit and was like, okay, bye.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I mean, it was just black and white. I mean, you don't call an investor on drunk saying about condoms for their balls or something. Like, that was just, yeah, come on. Like, there's got to be some type of professionalism here. I mean, especially with the corporation that Keely really wants for herself, the media company, all that. So it's
yeah.
definitely like a no-brainer. But yeah, I felt like she was just taken advantage of on that aspect there.
Yeah.
Skimming through ahead, she did a little salty move whenever she fired her, getting the goat, and putting it in the room, and then yeah, it's definitely one of those things to where it was shocking to see, and also we saw a little shocking stuff with Keely here. We're gonna stay with the character here, and then we'll go back to Ted and all them. You know, Keely, I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of shocked, but I kind of felt it was going that way from the beginning.
Yeah.
Whenever, yeah, I was like, wait, is Jack bi, or is she lesbian, or it was definitely one of those things to where like it kind of was leading up that way,
Yeah.
but
They just
but
like
I just didn't want to assume, right? I mean, we don't want
for
to assume,
sure
right?
we
Yeah,
don't
yeah, we
want
were
to
just
do that.
like, it's giving
And
kind of a little flirt. It was definitely
I think
some
they just
flirting
had
there.
chemistry.
Yeah,
So they had
I
chemistry,
liked it.
and I actually thought it was cool because I kept in mind like, okay, it's been a month
Yeah,
because last episode I actually didn't know how Jack felt about Keely. Like I don't
yeah,
know if she thought maybe she wasn't doing her job because she kind of gave Keely like some eyes, like just kind of seeing how she handles the situation
yeah,
with Shandy on last episode. So this episode, they're a lot friendlier.
yeah,
They get along. They make jokes with each other
yeah.
and all
They're
that
gonna go
stuff.
have lunch.
It
I mean,
and
come on.
yeah,
Yeah,
and I thought like, okay, that's super dope because yes, it's been a month, so I figured in a month they're getting to know each other better and things like that. But yeah, if we're sticking to this character, like we can address like the chemistry is there, but it obviously culminated to them
being
being
very
able
intimate.
to
Yeah,
be get intimate. I think they both had a little bit to drink as well.
yeah. Vodka. I
They
mean,
they
liquid courage, man. That's all I'm saying.
they
Hey,
were talking
hey.
about
I mean,
they were talking about their past love life, and we could see that
yeah.
Keely was still
Well,
very
so
hurt.
okay, so talk about that real
Yeah,
quick. So let's dissect this real quick.
yeah.
Mentioning Keely mentioned, or not her. I'm sorry, Jack mentioned. Oh yeah, wasn't it with Jamie? But then she doesn't mention Roy.
No,
Why
no,
is
no.
that?
So, oh yeah, no, I know why, but so just to give one last context, so the they were both talking about their exes. Jack
Yeah,
started first, then um then Keely said, "Yeah, my ex, like that also was like
yeah,
complicated, like it ended in a weird way." I forget exactly
yeah,
what she
yeah,
said, but she just said my ex, right?
yeah,
And then Jack said like, "Oh yeah,
yeah.
the
Jamie.
footballer."
Yeah,
And then Keely said yes. And then he said Jamie, right? And then she's like, "Oh, no." And then she stops and then she's like, "Never mind. I don't want to talk about it. It
oh, I'm
still
still
really
hurt.
hurts."
Yeah,
So what that told me is Keely was kind of caught by because yeah, she did date Jamie, right?
yeah, yeah. Of course.
Roy is the footballer, but I think that's the first time that Keely has referred to Roy as an ex. Because if you recall, at the start of the
Mm,
season, even when they told Phoebe that they were breaking up,
they're still gonna be
Roy was very
friends, or
decisive about
yeah.
the breakup because she asked like, "Hey, is this permanent or something like
Oh, are we
that?"
taking a
And
break?
and
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, and I
yeah,
remember that Keely answered no and Roy answered yes, as far as
yes,
like it
yeah,
being an official breakup. So
yeah.
I feel like it's always been a
It's just
like it was
complicated.
not Keely's decision, right? Keely
Yeah,
probably would have liked to see it through, but it's the first time that she actually labeled him as an ex to the point where when Jack said, "Oh, are you talking about Jamie?" and she's like, "No, I'm talking about Roy, but I didn't realize that I called him my ex, right?"
yeah,
So
yeah,
I think it's she's still clearly very hurt about that. And because of her busy schedule with work, she's even talked about how she doesn't get a lot of time to like have fun and all that stuff.
yeah,
I think she opened up to Jack in this moment where she's also felt lonely to an extent.
yeah.
Um, and yeah,
Definitely.
we see that Keely actually, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, Keely made the first
Yeah,
move.
she made the first
Keely
man,
actually went
and
in
then
for
she's
a
like, "Oh,
kiss.
she's like, "Oh man,
She
I'm sorry."
immediately regretted it.
And
She
and
was
I
so
kind of
sorry.
figured a little bit because I was just like, is Jack, is she a lesbian? Is she gay? It's just it kind of gave it off a little bit. I didn't want to, again, we could just like, but I mean, it goes to the point being is that how is Roy gonna feel about this, or how it's like
Yeah.
it's just. I mean, do you get more hurt knowing that
Well,
she's
I'm also thinking like just the drama because like Jack is technically her investor, which
Is
makes her
yeah,
boss.
a
It,
boss.
it
Doesn't it
it
make
can
a
get very messy.
Yeah,
Clearly, they both wanted it because Keely
yeah,
backed
of
off, and
course.
then Jack was like, "No, you should have done that." And then
Yeah, but I don't know if it's a good move on
I
both of
know,
their end.
I know,
Yeah,
I'm very conflicted for sure.
yeah.
I think
And then
once again, it might have been
just to clarify, guys, we're not talking about like relationships or anything like that. We're talking about relationships in the business corporation wise. Like
yeah,
you know
it can get
what do you
very
always say?
tricky,
Yeah, what do they say? Don't
especially when they invest money in your business.
yeah,
Like it's
yeah.
just
Don't
that
mix pleasure and business
with yeah,
together.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And that's what they did, and I just don't know if once again if Keely
I don't know if
did
it's gonna
that
come out
out of
good.
just pain or thing, or maybe she truly feels like this connection that
Yeah,
she's established with Jack could be something, but
could be
I don't
just the
know.
vodka. That's all I'm
I
saying.
just feel like the Roy stuff is still
Yeah.
not completely closed off,
Oh
and we
yeah.
see that Roy is still struggling with it, right? Like
Yeah.
he maybe messed up. He's still in that limbo where he just doesn't know. I think part of him tells him that it was the right decision, but then
Yeah.
another part, everything points that he like shouldn't have made that decision. So we see
I
him
know.
struggle with that.
Dumb.
But
Dumb.
super, I Eileen said she like my wife. She said that she saw it coming. I was more on the fence. Like I don't think they'll go there. Like just in
I
terms
thought
of
they
like
did from the beginning. I was
Keely,
just yeah.
like well like even Keely, I thought maybe Jack would make the first move and then Keely gets thrown back, but Keely is the
Yeah.
one that went for it.
I
So
thought
that I
Jack
think
was
that
gonna make the first
changes.
move. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Definitely,
we'll
definitely
see
there.
how this was
Yeah.
definitely a spicy episode, not just because of this, but
It
a
was
lot of
good.
stuff happened on this
Yeah, it
episode.
was
We
good. You
I
know,
don't we
yeah.
don't have to cover every single detail, but we still
Yeah.
see Rebecca dealing with the predictions and
Yeah.
of her moments and still being hung up on that final prediction from the psychic, which is like you're gonna have a
Yeah.
family.
And it's
And
really dwelling on her.
it
And
is,
yeah.
man. It's tough. It's tough. You know, she is always regarded to herself as being in the age that
Yeah.
perhaps that's not even an option, right? And so,
And she
and she
goes
doesn't have
to
a partner at this moment. But
verify in this
yeah,
episode. At the very end of this, we actually get I mean, we didn't hear the doctor, right? But by her facial expression, it's not good, right? I mean, we're just
it
assuming,
seems
right? I
like
mean,
that because
yeah,
she
it
even
doesn't
tried
seem
calling out Keely too, but Keely
yeah,
was busy.
was busy with
Um,
another girl. Yeah, but it
So I
was
don't know. There's
uh
room for interpretation, but
yeah,
clearly you could see she was disappointed. She didn't break down in tears or anything, but it did sound
no.
like it was the news
Her
that she
facial
expected,
yeah, the facial
despite the fact
expression.
that she
Yeah.
did build up hope. And just to clarify, like I when I say she doesn't have a partner, like obviously you can she can have a baby without a partner. I think that's what
Yeah.
that facility provided as a service
Yeah.
with the doctor, but what I meant
Fertility,
is
yeah.
like even her, because she's said multiple times that she feels lonely. She doesn't want to end up
Mhm.
being alone.
Yeah.
Um, and even on this prediction or in this episode, they covered what like the shite in Nining armor, like
Oh,
towards the
yes.
beginning of the episode. So
Yeah.
I'm just curious, man, how it's gonna like what's gonna happen. If it's symbolic, right? Like a
Yes.
family could be something else. It doesn't have to be,
I
a
mean,
direct
adoption. There's other
offering.
options.
There's
Of course. Yeah.
adoption.
Yeah.
There's also like if she ends up finding someone that
Yeah.
happens to already have children of their own, like that is another
That could
family,
be
right?
another
Like
option.
it's
Yeah.
I just don't know what's gonna happen. Her arc is going in a place where I definitely feel for her, and I'm
Yeah.
hoping that she gets uh just some support. I want her to
Really
feel
I want her to have a
whole.
happy ending in this season.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, there's no way
absolutely.
this is the
She
last
deserves
season.
it.
Yeah, I really do. I mean, you kind of want everyone to have a happy ending except Rupert and Nate, right? I mean, that's the whole point here.
No, I
Oh
still
shit!
think, dude.
Oh, get the okay. I believe 100%, 110% believe that Nate's gonna betray Rupert somehow, and it's gonna get them to where Rupert will be like
But
released. He'll be revealed to the whole world of what kind of person he is.
yes, but I think that can happen. But
Yeah.
rather than Nate betray, I just think Nate is gonna get redeemed to an extent. I'm not saying he's
I
earned
don't
it yet.
know. I don't
I'm
know.
not well
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
cover he has an interesting arc on this episode
Yeah.
too. And I'd like to remind some people I'm not an so I'm not a Nate defender, but I'm a Nate believer, right? You just gotta believe. But I've always I got really hurt from what happened last
Yeah.
season. I did, because and Nate is a little shit. He did a lot of little shit stuff. Um, But,
Dude, yeah.
even when you see, like, I I don't know, like, throughout this season, we've seen these moments leak through of who he really is, which
Yeah.
is a sweet guy. Like, that's who Ted met. That's who
Mhm.
Ted saw as a
Who was very
potential
quiet, who was very reserved.
quiet
Yeah.
kid. Yeah, and I think definitely he needed help in being more confident, but I think he just went about it the wrong way.
Mhm.
And he does hold a grudge against people that do him wrong, but I think he's misaligned on who's doing him wrong.
Yeah.
Um, I think there's a door for him to be redeemed. I don't think it's gonna be simple. I know it's gonna be divisive, but we've forgiven so many people throughout the show, right? Like Jamie
Yeah.
was an asshole. Rebecca did some bad shit to try to bring
Yeah.
the club down, her own club down, which people rely on. Um, I don't know if Nate has earned it yet, but in this
No,
episode, in
yeah.
his
I don't think
arc,
he has.
we got to see still, right? Like he is someone that has the ability to be good, and he's still super connected with his mom, right? I thought that was really cute when, the model that Rupert introduced him, like she
Mhm.
actually didn't know why he didn't call her, and they were gonna set up a date and things like that, and he actually called and kind of did like a little pitch of like, yeah, I'm gonna pick you up at this time, and it was like his mom, and he was just rehearsing, like, that's sweet. Like it's funny, but
Yeah.
it's also sweet, like how he's
Yeah.
deeply connected. We've seen he's texting his mom frequently.
Yeah. A lot.
um it's just his dad that's also like an asshole because he doesn't
He's a really like he's like
he
a
doesn't
small
acknowledge
little mini
him.
Rupert. Yeah, like
Well,
it's
he doesn't
just
acknowledge. If imagine
yeah.
if he acknowledged his son,
Or he doesn't
he
even
would not need.
recognize. He doesn't even
Yeah,
yeah. He doesn't recognize like I'm putting hard work, and he
but
doesn't
then
give him
Nate
the
wouldn't have
encouragement.
to go to the likes of like Ted or Rupert for
Yeah.
affirmation. Like he
Yeah.
just wants that from his father. So
Yeah.
he's out there looking for father figures. But
Yeah.
one thing I want to call out about Nate real quick is I really like his arc here where he goes back to the restaurant where he's gone multiple times.
Mhm.
Obviously, we have that the hostess there that always kind of trolls with
I
him and treats him like shit.
yeah.
Which I've always
Yeah.
felt like she's
She likes him in a
well
way. It's gonna grow to liking, right? I
well,
mean,
I saw hints of like
I know
I
he
think
likes her.
I felt like she was at first indifferent from him, but
Mhm.
like also like she's kind of like a troll, kind of being a bully to him. And I
Yeah.
told this to Eileen, like I feel like she's a bully to Nate in the sense that kids are like a girl is a bully to like a boy when you're like
When you
in
like a
in
girl,
in
yeah.
the elementary,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
like she secretly likes you or you secretly like her, but you're kind of
Mhm.
bothering them on purpose. I
Yeah.
kind of got a vibe of that a little bit. And then in this episode, she sees how this model is being all snobby, right? And she's like,
Mhm.
"Oh, let's just leave." And Nate actually, for the first time, in a good way, without belittling anyone or being degrading, he actually stands up for himself because he draws a line and he says, "Hey, this place is important for me. I know it's not fancy. I know
Yeah.
it's not like whatever, but all of the important moments of my life have
Right here.
taken place here."
Yeah.
And that was I love that scene so much because once again, even though I'm still not sold on
He's
Nate
standing up for
getting
himself. I get
redeemed,
it. Yeah.
but once again, he did it in a way that was right. He was
Mhm.
not he didn't call her names, he didn't say
Yeah.
anything. He just
He
talked
wasn't
about
being
what's
a
important
dick
to
about
him.
it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you can see that the moment that he does that, he earned the respect of
Yeah.
I forget her name. The
Yeah.
host,
I
they've
don't.
said it
I don't
multiple
remember.
times.
Yeah. I don't remember her name
Jane,
either. Yeah.
Jane.
Oh,
It's
okay. Yeah.
no wait, Jane is Beards. Oh fuck, it's gonna bother me. I'll find it out. But he
Yeah.
gains the respect of her because she brings him like after the model leaves, she brings him like a plate, and he's like, "Hey, I mean, you like to join me?" But she kind of made a joke with him of like, "Yeah, you described it as it's so excellent, blah blah blah,"
Yeah. That was
and they
funny.
end up having a good time. That
Yeah.
honestly made me happy for Nate, and I'm sorry, dude. I'm
I
just
just can't.
I
I get
know,
what you're saying.
I
I
know,
get
dude.
it. I mean,
I
it's definitely.
trust that the writers of the show are gonna sell us on it.
Yeah.
They're gonna need to make us accept it.
I guess. I mean, it's definitely one of those things to where like you don't really. I don't want to root for that guy. You know, it's
Yeah.
definitely yeah. It's definitely one of those things to
He
where
needs to correct things. He needs to make things right.
yeah, exactly. He needs to be a man about it and actually like make everything right the way the way that we all expect him to be. You know, we expect him to apologize and not leave the way he did,
Yeah.
and to just do right by the team. You know, the team that actually helped him become Nate the Great, the team that actually that was by his side, even though no one wanted to be
Yeah.
like it's just
And with
everyone.
how the team is right now, I don't know if they'll accept him at this very moment.
Oh no,
So there's
yeah,
still a lot to go. There's
yeah,
plenty of episodes left, but just great arcs altogether.
yeah,
And we see that. I don't know what in particular you want to cover next, Ryan, but I know like even Ted going through his own stuff, culminating in that speech towards the end, like that was just chef's kiss, dude.
yeah. That that speech actually was very good because it showed us Ted is coming to a point of his life. He is not going to put up with this shit no more. He's not going to put up with anyone's crap anymore. And I like that because we're seeing a lot of development with him. Point being is that, season one, he'll just hold it all in. But I think more so, he is letting it out. And this is the
Yeah,
right path to being the right person we need Ted to be. To be the more
yeah.
aggressive. I mean, not more aggressive,
It
but
is
just
not even it's letting
more.
things out,
Yeah, putting
uh,
truth into perspective here. Like it's just
for
it's
sure.
truth. It's truth. Like it's not. It's definitely one of those things to where he really needs to just say the way I feel, and that's it. Let
Exactly.
it
And
out. Not
and I don't
not
know.
not in a dick way. Not in a
No,
dick
no,
way,
no.
but just give it out the
Because
way.
Ted's not like that.
Yeah,
It's not in
dude,
his core.
this Ted Lasso is a 5-star Uber driver. That's all I'm saying. He's a
Yeah.
5-star passenger driver. Like,
Well, dude,
oh god, yeah,
did you catch it? I also when I was watching, Eileen probably gets annoyed at me, but I had to pause it, and I told her how important that little thing. Once again, I commend the writers on the show
yeah,
because the fact that like I see how brilliant something is, like it's kind of when you're listening to a song. I personally like
yeah,
rap,
yeah,
so you listen to a bar per se
yeah.
or a lyric that just kind of clicks, and you realize how clever that was to include
Hmm.
that. There's a moment here in Ted's arc in this episode where I think Beard is telling him something, and um, he lets Ted know of something that he thinks Ted should hear.
Hmm.
I think it was in relationship with like the Henry situation and all that stuff. But
Yeah,
Beard said like, or Ted said, "Thanks, Beard. I really needed to hear that." And then Beard replied without knowing, "Is like, I know you're gonna say it, but you needed to hear that." And he's like, "Yeah, that's what I said." And he's like, "You did?" And Beard is kind of confused, and he
yeah,
realizes that rather than Ted dismissing that advice that Beard was giving him
yeah,
and saying like, "No, I'm okay. Like I don't like don't worry about it. I'm not dealing with like or you just Ted is not a dismissive person, but Ted usually like deflects that
yeah,
and says, "Don't worry about it. I'm fine." But
yeah,
instead, he took that in and he said, "I needed that, so I
yeah.
appreciate it." And Beard was like Beard even told him because he knew what Ted was gonna say, but then he
Mm,
realizes, oh shit, he actually admitted that he
yeah,
needed some of that help,
hmm,
and to me that was like holy shit because it
yeah,
shows part of the growth even from the last episode or
hmm,
two episodes
yeah. Two
ago
episodes
where
ago, yeah.
like Ted opened up to Michelle, said how
Mm,
he felt, and you're right. I think Ted is getting ready to start sharing that with the team, and
yeah,
that
and
speech about the
I
sign and everything.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's coming. I kind of feel like this. I might even call it next episode. We're gonna see something, another revolutionized character of Ted Lasso, to where he's gonna be very competitive now, in a good way to try kind of push the guys because he hasn't really done that too much. He's
because
more
he's been
like,
focused on
yeah,
other stuff
yeah,
too, for
exactly,
sure.
with his personal life, right? I mean, divorce,
I still think
yeah,
that there's gonna be stuff on his personal life that he still needs to handle.
yeah, of
Um,
course. And then, of course, we get the huge news, the huge crappy news. Zava is actually retired. What the hell,
yeah, we
dude?
kind of
Wow,
knew it was.
what a plot! Did you call it? I didn't call this. What a plot
I
twist!
called. Okay, so I just felt Sava was a temporary thing, no matter what.
Yeah,
I my strongest prediction because Sava started yeah, at first he was introduced as a diva, but then we just thought he's just this weird, like spiritual,
yeah.
like
We're like,
person and great player. Yeah.
we
So
are
I was like, oh, you
one.
know what? He's not like as an asshole or so. So I think
No,
he'll
yeah,
just get injured and he's out for the rest of the season. He kind of takes a backseat. I just knew he wasn't a permanent thing.
Yeah.
But then in this episode, I started feeling like, fuck, he's gonna go to West Ham. But no, he just retired.
Yeah.
He has an avocado farm.
Yeah, man. I mean, I like it because he says to seek one's passion is, it's great,
It's
and
what you have to,
yeah,
yeah.
it's what you have to do, and just it's my
So it's
calling,
still
and
shitty, right? Like
yeah,
it's he's leaving the team. He clearly retired earlier because of how the team has been doing and things. So
yeah,
he didn't stay there. And Ted
yeah.
addresses that like, hey, I just want people here that want to be here. So we
Exactly.
didn't
And then
need
he
them.
tears up the sign too while he says that, dude. Like that was everyone's all,
Well,
oh,
yeah,
and then
yeah,
yeah.
everyone freaked
Yeah,
out.
I was
And
all like, and then I was about to say it too, in while I was watching this because
like,
I was just like,
no.
dude, it's just a sign, and he effing says it. He's all like, this is just a sign. Believing's in here, it's in
Oh
here,
yeah, I loved
dude.
when
I
he
love
did
that.
that
Yeah,
because that sign is epic now. Like right, like
yeah,
people show there's postcards or not postcards. There's
shirts of
birthday cards
it.
with it. There's
Yeah,
shirts. I,
yeah.
I feel well, I don't feel bad. The sign
No,
still is something
this
symbolic,
is
but
arc. This is story
but like
arc here.
imagine if someone got a tattoo of it. It's like I wonder how they're gonna feel. Like
No, you can still believe. That's the point, though. You can
no,
still
I know,
believe
but
it.
I
We
just
know
find
where
it
it's
funny.
from, but it's
Yeah,
definitely one of those things to where, like, this is character arc now. We're gonna stop
yeah,
believing. We're gonna stop doing
relying
believing
on the
now. Stop
sign.
relying on this on the sign and stop believing. Start doing hope. Start doing what you believe. That's why I kind of felt out of this speech out of here. He's just like, all these hosts past 2 seasons, we've just been like, it'll be all right. We'll believe it's all right, and all this stuff. We'll have hope. But now it's like he's really pushing on the players to like, you got to give it hope. You got to do it. You got to do it. And
Yeah.
I feel like that we're going to see more competition out of him. We're going to see more motivation to be competitive. And I like that. Hopefully we get to see that. I feel like we are. But yeah, I'm excited to see what else is coming out later this season. But yeah, definitely excited. This episode, we give this episode rating, Lex.
I that speech, dude. I want to give this episode I'm gonna give it a 10. I'm gonna do it.
Dude, bro, what?
I don't think
What?
I
A
don't
10?
think it's gonna be the
A
best
10?
episode of the season. I think the best episode of the season is still to come.
Yeah, but you gave
But
it a 10. It's that's perfect.
no, nothing's perfect in this life, dude.
To
But
you, a number 10 is perfect. Hey.
have you ever given a movie your highest rating? And is it perfect? It's perfect for you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I
Yeah, to you, that's the whole point. Yeah.
I'm not gonna change my score, but probably more realistic is 9.5, 9. I think 9.8 is very realistic still,
Damn. Yeah.
but I just think a lot of the things that happen here for these characters is not only super interesting, but like
Yeah.
I said, I had 2 or 3 moments in this episode where I had those moments of catching some brilliance from the writers.
Yeah.
And it may not mean a ton right now, but I think it means a ton on the big picture and maybe in
Mhm.
the future. Um, I just think under any other criteria, if episodes deliver that quality of, writing, character arcs, and to do it in a single episode, to fit all these character arcs in a single episode the way that they did, and it flows
Mhm.
nicely, I just think that deserves a 10, man.
Not
It's a
bad.
really solid episode. I'm not saying it's perfect, but
Yeah. No,
I
it
know
could
the
be
best is
perfect
still
too.
yet
That's
to
the
come.
point. Yeah. No, I get you. I get you. This episode, it's very again, we go back to the speech, we go back to like more of a setup, right? More of a setup for new relationships, more for a setup for new consequences that
Yeah.
could occur with business and pleasure. I mean, we see Becca really just it sucks because she's struggling, it's just there's so
Yeah,
much
she
happening
is.
here. It's a setup for another, like we thought the last few episodes were a setup. Yeah, they were, and then we got the small little story, and then now it's more setups. I like that. I love it when the writers, everything, the writing room, everything's coming together here, and I feel like, oh crap, we got more to unveil this season, and I'm excited. We got 5 more. I think it's 5 more episodes to
No,
go. This is
it
episode
should
5.
be 7.
Oh,
It's
7. I'm
total
sorry.
12
Yeah,
episodes.
12 episodes, which I'm excited for. Hopefully, they're all 50
Dude,
minutes
a
long,
lot of stuff can
dude.
still happen, dude.
Hopefully,
I'm
50
scared.
minutes, dude. 50 minutes long. That's all I'm saying. That's 7 more, pretty much almost 7 more hours of Ted Lasso, which I'm loving. So you
Yeah.
never know. You never know, guys. But yeah, I'm gonna have to give us a solid 9.3, guys. A solid 9.3, just because Ted Lasso's speech and everything. Jason, I loved the character-driven episodes to where it's more focused on a wholesome, right? Because I like that, because it's just they've done so well when it comes down to like focusing each character broad. I can't wait to see what more to come. As always, I'm your host, Ryan D, aka Ryan 680.
This was Lex, guys. Y'all have a great one. You gotta keep on believing.
Yeah, keep on believing, guys. Richmond. Let's go.
Richmond.
Let's go, guys. Thank you so much. Have yourself a wonderful day. Like, subscribe to us, guys. Thank you so much. Have yourself a wonderful week. Catch you later. Peace.
Bye.